Hey, what's happening? LI.FI Wido, the ultimate broad cross-chain community. Welcome to another LI.FI Twitter space. We're excited. Yesterday we launched cross-chain Zaps with Wido, and we're going to have a real good conversation with Wido CEO Roman today in this Twitter space. We have Cram here, who's going to be hosting as well. It's really great just to be up here with Cram, who is the most pumped person in all of crypto about cross-chain Zaps and this partnership between LI.FI and Wido. But yeah, just great to see so many of you who's familiar to Twitter Spaces. I see so many of these profile pictures have been here before. So if you've been here before, you know the convo's already going to be good. And yeah, we just can't wait just to touch more on this partnership, and shout out to all the devs that's here as well. We really believe that this partnership is just going to 10x user experience in crypto as a whole. So yeah, we're going to kick this off in a couple of minutes, and really looking forward to this Twitter space. So share the link out, invite some people. We're going to have a good half an hour around the Twitter space table talking about cross-chain Zaps as a service. So before we kick off, I see Cram is already here. So Cram, how are you doing today? And cool fact is we're going to start recording this Twitter space for the first time so that users can not only listen to the audio back, but visually see what we look like. Whoa, right? So we're doing that too. So we're going to kick this off in about 5 seconds, our recording, and welcome Cram up here on stage. So Mark, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all good. Kind of nervous to be on screen, honestly, but we'll survive. And we got a big crowd today. We got 600 people already, so it should be fun.
Yeah, all 600 in for a treat. Yeah, I mean, you've been on camera before. We remember the weekly cross-chain insider YouTube podcasts. You OG.
That's a throwback. If you know what the Cross Chain Insider podcast is, you've been around LI.FI for a long time.
You've been bridging for a while.
long time. Yeah,
If you know what it
Bridger.
is, yeah, for sure. Alpha Bridger, OG Bridger, Sir Bridgerlot himself. Well, hey, we've got a minute left, and we're just so excited to have the CEO of Wido here. We know you guys have been speaking for a while in private, setting this up. So I think it's about time that the public community and our audience just gets to hear from you guys yourself.
Yeah, I've been thinking about our topic today, which is cross-chain Zaps. I've been thinking about it for probably 6 months now, and so it is very exciting to finally be getting to talk to the people about it instead of just random LI.FI coworkers.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk all about, what exactly is abstracted away and what can be done with the contract call. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty exciting just to hear from you professionals. Yeah, so if you haven't headed to our blog just yet, blog.li.fi, it is our latest article piece that's out on our blog, and you can read all about cross-chain Zaps. Deposit to any contract from any token and any chain, all in one click. One click, Mark. How did we pull this off?
I mean, we got Wido here to tell us exactly how they pulled it off. I'm just the guy that gets to ask the questions to Roman. But no, the fun thing about Zaps is it's just a great marriage of our two teams. Wido does Zap Infra, LI.FI does bridging. So here we go.
That's a super
Zapping.
cool way how to introduce us. Thanks, Mark, and excited to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. As I was saying to the rest of the We're at almost 1,000 people today. As I was saying to the 1,000 people listening, I've been super excited to talk about Zaps with you, like in public, because we've spent so long talking about it privately. So glad to have you on. Would love if you could just introduce yourself. Obviously you're Roman from Wido, but maybe just like a little background on how you got into crypto for like the first minute or two, and then we can jump into Wido and LI.FI.
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. I'm Roman. I started with crypto in 2016. That's when I bought my first Bitcoin. Was interested, joined the space full time in early 2020 when I joined Argent as a product manager. Um, After about a year, started Wido. So I've been doing this for almost 2 years, and very excited about this partnership with LI.FI now.
It makes sense that you spun off Wido with your experience at Argent. For anyone who uses Argent, it will make sense, the Wido LI.FI partnership here. Yeah, so what LI.FI and Wido are announcing today, we actually announced it yesterday, but we're talking about it today, is cross-chain Zaps. And cross-chain Zaps is probably one of the coolest things I've gotten to help ship while at LI.FI. We and Wido are able to now support a pretty much one-click experience from any asset on one chain into another asset contract on another chain. And I'm super excited about it. My audio is apparently a little bit clunky here, so Roman, I'll let you kind of give the rest of the explanation, and then I'll hop back in with better audio.
Okay, sure. So I'll try to explain first to a 5-year old, because not everyone probably knows what Zaps is or what Zaps are. So we're trying to build a uh, infrastructure to enable one-click experience in DeFi and in blockchains in general. Uh, People will be able to forget about switching chains, about different gas tokens, uh, about making multiple transactions in order to achieve something. Uh, so that's what we enable. And a little more technical explanation is we're building a router uh, where we can combine multiple transactions together into a single click experience. User can choose any token on any chain, like a starting token could be ARB on Arbitrum. And let's say the user wants to deposit it into Lido contract on Polygon in the form of Matic. So with this piece of infrastructure and with this partnership, the user would just click deposit, and in the background, the ARB is going to be bridged to Polygon, swapped for Matic, and then deposited into Lido. All in one transaction. Gas is doesn't exist. It's all seamless.
I don't know if y'all are listening, if you understand how awesome this is, but like, this is the thing in crypto. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. A lot of teams out there in the bridging space specifically have been talking about cross-chain contract calls and abstracting away the chain, and having Zap infrastructure on the end of a bridging transaction is the last mile. For LI.FI specifically, we are routing through Stargate and Connext to make this happen. Both of these bridges allow us to bundle contract calls on the destination chain while starting the transaction on the source chain. So we can add a swap, a bridge, a swap, and then a contract execution all in one click. We do that through two bridges. We're hoping by the end of the year to be able to do that through like 5 or 6 bridges. I won't. There's some very fun things I've heard from other bridge teams that I won't drop now, but I do think that we will be seeing more bridges allowing us to do this as the year goes on. But this is very, very, very exciting. Um, And is my audio still bad, Roman?
It's pretty good. I can hear you well, Mark.
Okay, I'm getting some complaints from internal LI.FI people that my audio is bad today, but that's okay. That's okay. So Roman, you just kind of gave us a little bit of an example with staking into Lido from another chain.
Yeah.
Could you maybe give because one of my favorite things about Wido is you can work with LP tokens as well, which is like one of the nastiest things that we ask users to do. Can you maybe give an example of what it would look like going from an LP token on one chain to an LP token on another, and kind of what that flow might look like through Wido in LI.FI?
Absolutely. I'm glad you're touching LP tokens because I agree. Like those are really complicated. Uh, so you want to go from LP token on chain A into an LP token on a different chain. So you're essentially moving your position from, let's say, Uniswap on again Arbitrum, and you want to deposit it. You want to withdraw from this Uniswap LP token, and you want to deposit it into Curve on Polygon. Uh, Without Wido, that's like maybe up to 10 transactions. Like you need to withdraw a token pair. So you will have two tokens on the source chain. You need to have gas token. You need to find a bridge. You need to decide which bridge to use. You will bridge. You need some gas tokens on the destination chain. Let's say you want to deposit a different pair. In the initial LP token, you were withdrawing DAI and USDC. In the destination, you want DAI and USDT, let's say. So you need to make a swap, and then again, token pair deposit. With Wido and LI.FI, this becomes a one-click thing. You just click migrate. It's going to be withdrawn on the source chain, bridged, deposited. There are no approvals along the way. It can all be a really one-click experience. Yeah.
LP tokens being abstracted away is it's just delightful. It's one of the bane of my existences. But okay, so we're kind of talking about cross-chain Zaps, and we're kind of acting like we are hosting the front end, but we're not, right? LI.FI and Wido, we are both infrastructure companies. From LI.FI's point of view, we've worked with teams like MetaMask, DeFi Saver, Superfluid. We actually have 75 people using our API or SDK right now. So 75 different crypto teams. On Wido's side, I believe you're up around 15 to 20, perhaps more. But you've worked with teams like Yearn and Mosaic in the past to allow for same chain Zaps on their front end. So actually, if you go to Yearn right now, which is, if you're listening to this, Twitter Spaces and you haven't been to Yearn, I think that you should solve that and go to Yearn immediately, because what are you doing? Let's go actually use things. If you go to Yearn and you go to deposit into a bunch of different Yearn vaults, you can deposit using any token. So like you can go from USDC to YCRV essentially on Yearn in one click. And that's on Yearn's front end, just like LI.FI is inside the MetaMask bridge button. And we see cross-chain Zaps being utilized by other teams on their front end. We are just an infrastructure play for teams to build fun things. So in my mind, if you're a derivatives protocol and you want to, allow for a omni token purchasing function for a derivative, Wido and LI.FI can help you build that. If you are, let's say, an AMM and you want someone to be zapping into LP tokens, Wido and LI.FI can do that as well. Rome, can you just kind of maybe run through? I just kind of gave two, but there's probably 3 or 4 other use cases that come top of mind that could be implemented day one. And then I actually have a couple ideas I want to throw at you about things that haven't been built yet that I want to see built. But I'll let you run with a couple of different ideas.
Oh, Roman, do you mind unmuting yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. For some reason, my mic was off. Anyways, I'm glad Mark, you're bringing this up. We do not want to be the front end. We think there is a lot of uh, okay-ish front ends out there, and we want to help them become great. Uh, there is no single use case that a one front end would solve, and we just want to make all of the front ends great. Um, you want me to bring an example where this makes sense? So uh, it also makes sense in the wallets themselves. If you look at the wallet scape today, and I think I myself have over 30 wallets installed on my phone. Uh, in most cases, you can't stake or you can't natively buy an LP token there. They give you a browser, or you can wallet connect on certain places to deposit, but it's not native in the wallet. And I know that wallets are looking into this. I've spoken with a few. They want to enable one-click staking on a one-click yield, uh, LP tokens, or more advanced DeFi use cases right inside the wallet in one click in a gas abstracted way. So that would be my contribution to the where it makes sense to use this technology.
Yeah, I think we're just scratching the surface on use cases here. Something I would like to see built is simply like a yield aggregator that actually automatically moves between chains using LI.FI and Wido to zap into different yield mechanisms depending on APY being offered, with the user never having to even click a bridge button, right? You just like deposit into a contract on Arbitrum, and then you just farm out to a million different places. You can also do this. You can do this with pretty much every concept, and I think Wido and LI.FI are great tools to be able to do so. Um, and I mean, pretty much everything needs a Zap. If you want to LP on AMM, Zap. If you want to lend on a money market, Zap. If you want to buy a derivatives uh, token, Zap. It's just everything can be a cross-chain Zap, and I'm so excited to be able to work with Wido on this to bring Zaps to a bunch of platforms. Now, with that being said, LI.FI with cross-chain Zaps, we're relying on Stargate and Connext. So we support about 10, maybe 11 chains to do Zaps. And Wido, I know for same chain Zaps, offers support for 1,500 contracts. With that in mind, Roman, first off, can you maybe run through the most basic types of contracts that you're always going to support, and then talk about the process that it takes for someone to come to us and add support for a new contract?
Mm-hmm. For sure. So this is our bread and butter. We want to have support for everything out there. Uh, we're building internal tools to make it very easy for us to add support for new things. We have a bunch of automation lined up that can create zaps to new protocols fairly quickly. We have support for everything, for all the large protocols that you can think of, all the staking protocols like Lido, Rocket Pool, Anchor. We have support for UN Finance, Convex, Curve, Uniswap, Balancer, all of the big ones that you can possibly think of. Uh, if we, by any chance, don't have support for your LP tokens or vaults, you can reach out and you're like, hey, I want to receive deposits in any token. I want to implement Zaps on my application. The process looks like this: you share your contracts with us, with the Wido team. We're gonna give you an estimate of how long is it going to take us to build support. Usually, it's less than 1 day. Um, we integrate your contracts into our router system, and then you just plug our JavaScript SDK or our little widget uh, that is beautifully designed and saves you even more engineering time. You just plug that into your web application or your front end, and that's it.
But Roman, if it only takes Wido a day, why should teams work with Wido and LI.FI for cross-chain Zaps? Right? That's one of the biggest pushbacks we get At LI.FI, for people, they want to almost build a bridge aggregator from scratch oftentimes when they start talking about bridging. So can you maybe walk through like exactly what maintenance you're taking away from teams by building out the Zap for them, and maybe talk about how difficult it is to actually do a cross-chain Zap starting from ground zero? Because like these are two separate companies, right? You are Zaps as an infra company. We're bridging as an infra company. And even it's hard for us to build a cross-chain Zap from the full mile. And so can you maybe talk about what we're taking off the hands of developers here?
Absolutely. It takes us a day because we've been working on this for almost 2 years now. That's the simplest answer. We've built a lot of infrastructure, as I said. If you come to us and you give us your contract, it's just one edge on the whole spectrum of tokens that we already support. So let's say 6 months ago, we created support for Uniswap pools, and you are an AMM and you want support for your pools. By plugging into our system, you will immediately get access to all the Uniswap pools out there. So if a user has Uniswap pools, they will be able to zap into your, let's say, new or fresh AMM. So if you wanted to rebuild all of that, you would need to build all of those little integrations that we do on a daily basis. And that's just the Zap world. Uh, Mark can tell you more about the bridge world, which we frankly we considered building it ourselves, but we quickly realized that it's a challenge on its own. So it's much better to partner with Li.FI.
Yeah, so the zapping infra is crazy. I'm looking at what Wido supports. They can essentially, like, if you're going to be using a cross-chain Zap, you're going to be able to pull from like 90% of liquidity sources in all of DeFi. That is the math that I did on the back of a napkin before this Twitter Spaces, which is crazy. So like it's a single API for 90% of DeFi liquidity in one click. That is such a major upgrade compared to anything else. From the bridging perspective, right? We always want to go and give the bridges we've integrated props. So Stargate connects, we're routing through them. What this means, though, is that we have to standardize the way that contract calls are bundled on source chain and execute on destination chain so that they can work going through two different types of bridges with the same type of contract executions. And these two bridges aren't built by the same people, right? Stargate and Connects are two different teams with two different security mechanisms, two different APIs that we have to work with. And so as a bridge aggregator, there's so much work that goes into this, and I would not recommend building it from the ground up. And so I just think the Wido LI.FI combo is so powerful for developers to be able to come in and start building out real helpful experiences for crypto. And that's something I just want to tap into for 1 second, Roman, is the experience. What Wido and LI.FI are now going to be selling is a new experience for crypto users that has not been seen before. A one-click cross-chain Zap essentially changes the way that you experience DeFi. You no longer have to go to third-party websites to swap or bridge. You no longer have to do nasty Google searches to figure out how to deposit into, for example, Aave. Like if these cross-chain Zaps become the norm, because the cross-chain Zap allows you to take any liquidity you have on any chain and plug it into the contract of the website that you are on. So if you are on Uniswap, you will never have to use Uniswap again if they implement a cross-chain Zap. And so from a development perspective, we almost have to like reteach crypto developers that this is an okay experience to build, because a lot of times teams have been wary of adding a bridge or been wary of adding a Zap. But I just think a bridge aggregation protocol, first of all, that gives you multiple fallback options for any bridge related functionality, and then a Zap aggregator essentially takes all of the work of maintaining those liquidity movements off the hands of devs and allows you to focus on actual protocol upgrades, right? Instead of Uniswap messing around with building out a cool front end, right? If they implemented cross-chain Zaps, they could just be working on V5 already, right? And so that's what we want to be promoting. And again, I'm using examples like Uniswap and Aave and Yearn, not because we have partnerships coming out with them. I just want to clarify that if anyone from those teams are listening, would love to talk, of course, but just because I think this is an idea that deserves to be used by the biggest blue chip protocols here, because it's so cool and it's so it's such a different take on crypto. Do you have anything else to say about crypto UX in general, Roman? And then I think we'll maybe take a couple questions from the audience.
I don't have too much to add. I think you've said it really well. There's maybe one more thing to point out. If you're that developer and you want to obviously focus on the app that you're building, uh, by leveraging Zaps that we're building with Li.FI, you can rest assured that if there is a new protocol and new liquidity somewhere, those people will be able to come over to you later on. We'll keep working, we'll keep adding support for new things, and you won't need to care of that at all. Same for if there's a new bridge that comes up and it's a great bridge, you will immediately get access to that. You don't need to maintain it yourself.
And the maintaining, I think, is something people don't understand is very difficult. I mean, for LI.FI specifically, we have some bridges that require us to maintain more than 5 APIs for a single bridge. We have like 17 bridges integrated. Our backend is complicated, and so doing even maintaining a single Zap is probably going to take up a developer team of 2 at a DeFi protocol. And look, a lot of DeFi protocols really only have developer teams of 10 to 20, and so 2 people building a Zap for a couple months and then maintaining it, that can be 1/10 of your team, 1/10 of your team, maybe even 20% of your team, that's working on just like a UX upgrade, rather than like core protocol upgrades or tokenomics or some of the really meaty things that we need to solve in DeFi. Li.FI and Wido, in my opinion, we're just here to solve the UX, and then we want the dApps to go and build the great, ingenious, uh, you know, monetary revolution stuff. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from. We do have about 5 minutes left. Maybe we'll take 2 questions from the audience. Perhaps if anyone wants to raise their hand, Jordan will ask you onto the stage, and then Roman, I'm going to leave you with one last question here. But it's, what is the best way to get in touch with you or I to help build out a Zap if anyone here is interested in doing so? I stumped him.
Do you want me to answer now, or are we waiting for questions first?
Oh, yeah, you can just answer now. We'll wait for people to raise their hands and then go. This will be the filibuster before that.
Okay, perfect. So you can follow us on Twitter. Our DMs are open, so you can reach out on Twitter. You can go to our website, joinwido.com. There's a contact tab. There is also a blog that came out from Li.FI yesterday. I can retweet it right after this call. If you scroll down on that blog, there is a contact to myself, directly my Telegram there, and to Mark. So you can just reach out to us, and we're going to respond as soon as possible.
Heck yeah, and I'll add my DMs. I changed my Twitter settings. My DMs are wide open right now. So send me a note. Find me on the Medium blog that we put out. I put my contact information there. I am more than happy to jump on a call with any team in DeFi that wants to ask questions about Zaps. If you have questions about security, if you have questions about contract support, if you have just basic questions about how Stargate and Connext are allowing for one-click bridging transactions, I can go deep into any of those topics, and I'll bring Roman on, or really Roman will bring me on, and he can talk about the zapping side as well. I'm actually not seeing anyone ask a question. So Roman, I think we just explained cross-chain zaps so perfectly that no one had a single question.
Looks like that. If any question raises up later, reach out. Happy to help.
Perfect. And so I think we'll just kind of end it here. This was kind of our first overview of cross-chain zaps. We're going to try to do maybe 2 or 3 more of these Twitter spaces over the next month or so. We're going to probably do a more technical deep dive into how cross-chain zaps work next. This was just to get everyone excited. So we'll do that. And then we're actually going to probably do maybe a researchy Twitter Spaces as well to talk about your performance on Yearn's front end, what same chain zaps have done for the ecosystem, along with what we've seen from the bridging space from just a one-click token transfer performance, and then talk about that. So there are definitely 2 more Twitter Spaces. This was a great way to kick it off. Again, if you have any questions about cross-chain zaps, LI.FI and Wido, we're here to answer those. That's like our entire thing. This is what we're doing. This is the partnership. We'd be delighted to answer any questions. So please reach out. And any last words, Roman?
This is a great way how to finish it. We're very open to speak. Even if you just have some ideas on how to make DeFi UX better, reach out. We can discuss that. And I'm looking forward to the future spaces. Sounds really exciting.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye.